This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Rhode Island, introducing a real estate professional who brings a rare level of composure and peace of mind to her clients in one of the most high stakes experiences in life. She is a REMAX Hall of Fame inductee who ranks in the top 1% of agents statewide. Please welcome Juli McIntosh.
Hi, how are you? Very nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. Let's start off a little bit about yourself. Julie, you spent years really as a registered nurse before entering real estate full time. In nursing, you have to stay calm in life or death situations. Does that clinical composure maybe help you when a high stakes real estate deal starts to get emotional or complicated at the closing table?
Absolutely. Real estate is not life or death, right? But to some people, it can feel that way. And that's part of the process is, helping people stay calm and diffusing high stress situations, approaching situations with empathy and compassion and trying to just, determine where someone's coming from because, yeah, these situations are very similar. So, in my former career, I had to deal a lot with, physicians and insurance companies and try and, negotiate certain aspects of things and help everyone come to a palatable conclusion that was, favorable for all parties. So I feel like that definitely, helps in my new career as well as, staying calm and being able to read people, read situations, and things like that.
I think real estate should be scary, folks, to navigate by yourself. That's why you need a professional in your corner. You're licensed in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. That's a lot of different regulations and market trends to keep track of. Was it important for you to kind of build a tri-state reach rather than just staying in one local pocket? And why so?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say that I serve the entirety of Connecticut or Massachusetts. I try to stay within maybe a 1 to 1.5 hour range of where I am in Kent County. But we have a lot of people who cross the border, have a home to sell here, want to buy in Connecticut, maybe Massachusetts, things like that. And yeah, it is quite different in each state. They all have their own regulations and different ways of doing things. But part of that is I've managed to keep up through education. And I've become very friendly with agents in other states. So, I can kind of discuss with them, hey guys, what's new, what's going on in Connecticut, and keep abreast that way. But yeah, they are quite different. Massachusetts is more attorney driven. Connecticut has its own nuances. There's different regulations for each state. So, yeah, it's interesting.
So they're not only tapping into your expertise, but really the network that you built around you,
Oh,
people in different states. I think that's great. Your client portfolio is incredibly diverse. You've handled everything from a $100,000 starter home to a 3.4 million luxury listing. Obviously, it's important to you that a first-time home buyer feels just as prioritized and supported as a multi-million dollar investor. Tell me about that.
yeah, absolutely. First-time home buyers, they require more education, a little more hand-holding, whereas luxury sellers or buyers, they would like to have a little bit more discretion and exclusivity. They don't require as much education. It's different, just a different nuance. So, I've helped first-time home buyers, investors, snowbirds, downsizers. And yes, my clientele is pretty diverse.
All across the board, you've served them all. Let's touch on some of what you do. While you were a leader in residential real estate, you've also handled commercial sales. Does
Mhm.
your grit and strategy kind of shift when you move from a family home into the world of industrial commercial real estate? And how so? Can you maybe give us an example?
Yeah, so I was led to believe that commercial real estate was less emotional, but I do not find that to be true. Last year I helped a seller with a $3.4 million industrial warehouse. And that sale took almost a year to complete. And both sides were very emotional. It's a lifelong business that someone was selling. There was a lot of, intrinsic emotional value tied to that. I don't prefer commercial. I prefer residential. But I am, trained in commercial and certified in commercial. So when the opportunity comes, I'll evaluate it and see if it's something I want to take on. But I very much prefer residential.
I agree with you. I think the business side can still be emotional. I've heard business owners say that's my baby, and like you say, it can take up to a year for something like that to take place. As an expert in new construction, also, I mean, you see the bones of a house before the drywall goes up. What should buyers look for when choosing a builder that they might miss if they were doing this on their own?
Yeah, so there's different inspections along the way with new construction, such as a drywall inspection, framing inspection. So there are, checkpoints along the way in those transactions. But Rhode Island's a pretty small state, and, it's not like we have 50, 100, big time builders. There's only several. So, it's word of mouth, it's networking, and it's knowing the right people. That's kind of the vibe in Rhode Island. It's who you know. And yeah, it's not like we have a ton of builders that are building, a ton of homes.
Once again, an agent can direct people in the right direction when it comes to knowing the market and the network that you put together. You're a certified expert in probate and estate sales. I mean, these can be deeply emotional transactions
Yes.
involving family loss, complex legalities. Does your background in healthcare maybe allow you to guide these families with maybe a little bit more empathy than a traditional agent would? Tell me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I actually was a hospice nurse for 5 years. So I'm familiar with it on that end as well, what they've gone through to get to the point of selling the home. So yeah, I do feel like I have a lot of empathy and understanding for what they've been through. Those are often my favorite transactions, are probate. And I just actually became certified as a SRES, a senior real estate specialist, because, those are my people. I love older people. When I was a nurse, that was the majority of the age demographic that I served. So I feel like, I can help them best, and I do have a lot of empathy and understanding for their situation and their journey.
Obviously the occupation you chose prior shows you have that empathy. I think it's a gift for people to work with the elderly like that. Since 2020, you've helped more than 150 families buy and sell. I mean, given how the market has been over the last few years, what is the overall advice that you give to kind of help them maintain confidence at a questionable time?
Yeah, our market is ever changing and evolving. And Rhode Island is unusual, where a lot of other parts of the country have experienced longer days on market, maybe some price reductions. Our market has remained pretty strong. I'm talking to agents every day. They're still having difficulty having their offer accepted. So we remain firmly in a seller's market right now. So my advice to buyers in this market is, you're going to have to come with your highest and best. You're going to have to really, think about what you want to do to be able to get a home today. It's difficult. It's not easy. And sellers, they often, have unrealistic expectations of what they can achieve in this market. A lot of people have become very frustrated with the affordability crisis that's been going on. So, I think for both sides, it's just kind of coming to terms with the reality of what this market entails.
Stay focused on the area where you're at. It seems like it's full steam ahead in your area, which is great. Your business thrives almost entirely on referrals and repeat clients. I mean, in a world where people often shop around for agents online, what is the Julie secret sauce maybe that makes a family call you back years later for their next move?
I try hard to stay in touch with my past clients. I have client events that I invite them to. I send out newsletters. I recognize birthdays, anniversaries, babies being born, graduations, things like that. But a lot of times, I'll just be thinking of a client and I'll pick up the phone and call them and say, "Hey, how's it going? How's the house? How's the family? How have you been?" Things like that. But, I do also get a fair amount of business from, people finding me online.
Makes sense. Julie, ranking in the top 1% and being in the Hall of Fame are incredible accolades. However, you said that success isn't measured in awards, but in lives improved. Is that your true definition of success? Just truly helping people?
Absolutely, because as a nurse, most of my satisfaction and joy came from being able to help people. So now I feel like I get to still continue to help people just in a different way. At the end of the day, the accolades, the benefits that a real estate career can offer you, they're wonderful. But when I lay my head on the pillow at night and think about the people that I've helped, that's really where, my satisfaction comes from.
That's what gets you up every morning as well. Definitely so. Julie, you're known for a blend of strategy and authenticity. While many agents try to maybe put on a show, you've always leaned into being yourself. Is authenticity actually your best sales tool? And is this rewarding work for you?
That's all I know how to be is myself. So, I feel like in this day and age, people want authenticity. I feel like, a lot of people online put on airs and, we only see the best of people's lives on Facebook and such. So, I try and tell people the good, the bad, and the ugly of what goes on in real estate and in my life.
It's been a pleasure introducing you. Thanks so much. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is our website. On the website, you're going to learn more about one of Rhode Island's most trusted and well-respected real estate professionals. Before she was closing multi-million dollar deals and landmark commercial sales, she had a background that she was building that now defines her unique approach to advocacy and grit. Once again, that is Juli McIntosh, guiding you on your real estate journey with passion and care. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.